The first time it happens, you don't notice it right away. You look at your bank account. The balance sits there, calm and ordinary. It's not fireworks. It's not a victory parade. It's just a number. But something feels different. Not because of what the money can buy, but because of what it represents. A line has been crossed. A quiet psychological border that most people never talk about. And once you cross it, the world starts to feel different. Not overnight, not dramatically, but subtly, like the air pressure changing before a storm. Today we're exploring why everything changes after $10,000. Not enough flashy get-rich-quick way, not as financial advice, but as a human story, a shift in mindset, a change in identity, a turning point most people underestimate. So, take a breath, settle in, because by the end of this, you might see money, ambition, and even yourself in a different light. At the beginning, money feels heavy. Every bill feels personal. Every unexpected expense feels like a threat. You measure time in hours worked. You measure choices in affordability. You turn down invitations, delay dreams, postpone plans, not because you lack desire, but because resources are thin. In that stage, money is survival. It's food, rent, transport, stability. You're not building, you're maintaining. You're holding the walls up with your hands. And when you're there, it feels endless, like this is just how life works. But then something changes. Maybe you save a little. Maybe you start a side hustle. Maybe a promotion lands. Maybe a project takes off. The path doesn't matter. What matters is the moment when your savings reach that psychological threshold. Enough to breathe, enough to buffer, enough to say, if something goes wrong, I won't collapse. And that is the real shift. Not wealth, not luxury, but breathing room. Before this point, every decision is reactive. After it, you start thinking proactively. You stop asking, how do I survive this month? And start asking, what do I want next year to look like? This is the first major change, the expansion of time in your mind. The future stops being a blur of anxiety. It becomes a canvas. It's subtle. You might not announce it, you might not tell anyone, but inside, a door unlocks. And once unlocked, you can't go back to how you saw the world before. Another shift appears in how you value your time. When money is tight, you trade time for cash without question. Long hours, extra shifts, saying yes even when you're exhausted. Time is something you give away to keep life moving. After this threshold, you start calculating differently. You ask, is this worth my time? Is this opportunity aligned with what I want? Could I spend this hour building something for myself instead? This is where people start exploring new paths, learning skills, starting passion projects, taking creative risks, not because they're reckless, but because they finally have a safety net. This is also where many people feel an unexpected emotion, discomfort, because for the first time, there's a choice, and with choice comes responsibility. You can no longer say, I had no options. Now you do, and that can feel terrifying. It's easy to romanticize financial milestones, but the truth is, crossing this line doesn't just bring relief, it brings self-awareness. It forces you to confront who you are when survival is no longer the story. Some people realize they've been running on autopilot for years. Others discover that their goals were inherited, not chosen. Some find motivation, others face confusion. This is why everything changes, not because of what you can buy, but because of what you must now decide. Another quiet transformation happens in your relationship with risk. Before this point, risk feels dangerous. One mistake could set you back months. You play safe, you stay small, you hold on to certainty even if it makes you unhappy. After this threshold, risk becomes calculated. You start to see opportunity instead of threat. You ask, what's the worst that could happen? And the answer is no longer catastrophic, it becomes manageable. This is why many entrepreneurs, artists, and innovators start their journeys after reaching this stage. Not because they suddenly got brave, but because they finally got a cushion. And then there's identity. When you struggle financially, you often define yourself by limitation. I can't afford that. I'm not the type of person who does that. That world is for other people. After crossing this milestone, those invisible fences begin to fall. You walk into stores without checking price tags first. You book experiences without calculating every detail. You talk to people in different circles without feeling like an outsider. And slowly, your identity shifts, not into arrogance, but into possibility. You start to believe you belong in spaces that once felt unreachable, and that belief changes how others respond to you. Confidence is contagious. Opportunity notices it. But here's where the story deepens. Because once you get here, another truth reveals itself. This milestone is not the destination, it's the beginning of a new climb. At first, you might feel proud. You should. It's not easy to reach this stage. But after a while, the excitement settles, the new normal arrives, and a quiet question appears. What now? Some people stop here. They get comfortable, they maintain, they enjoy stability, and there's nothing wrong with that. Others feel a spark. They see that if this was possible, more is possible. Not just financially, in personal growth, in lifestyle design, in impact. And this is where the second hook of our story comes in. Because many people who cross this threshold do not realize that the biggest change isn't financial, it's psychological. They've stepped into a mindset that can transform every area of life. And the ones who recognize this become unstoppable. They invest in themselves, they build systems, they think long-term, they seek mentors, they create instead of consume, they stop living on default settings. This is why you'll hear some people say that the first serious savings milestone was more valuable than any future earning. It taught them who they could be. But let's slow down, because there's another side to this story. Not everyone who reaches this point feels happy. Some feel empty. They realize money wasn't the problem they thought it was, that their stress came from deeper places, unresolved dreams, unspoken fears, a lack of purpose. And when the financial pressure lifts, those inner voices get louder. This is not failure, it's an invitation, an opportunity to look inward, to ask meaningful questions, to design a life that aligns with who you truly are. So again, everything changes, but not always in the way people expect. Another unexpected shift happens in how you view other people. Before this stage, you might feel envy toward those who seem more successful. You compare, you wonder how they got there, you imagine they're different from you. After crossing this threshold, you realize they're just people who made choices, took chances, built momentum. And that realization is empowering because it means you're not excluded from possibility, you're part of it. At the same time, you start noticing how many people are still struggling, and your empathy deepens. You understand pressure, you understand anxiety, you understand what a small cushion can mean to someone's mental health. Some people choose to help others at this stage, supporting family, giving back, offering guidance, becoming a light for someone still in survival mode. And this is yet another transformation. Money becomes not just personal security, but a tool for connection. Let's talk about habits. Reaching this milestone doesn't happen by accident. It often comes from small, consistent actions. Saving regularly, cutting unnecessary spending, staying disciplined, working on skills, showing up when it's hard. Once you see the results of those habits, you start trusting the process. You apply it to fitness, learning, relationships, creativity. The belief forms, small actions compound. This is one of the most powerful lessons of the journey, and it extends far beyond finance. Then there's the change in emotional resilience. Before, setbacks feel devastating. A broken appliance, a medical bill, a job issue, each one shakes your foundation. After, setbacks become manageable, still stressful, still unpleasant, but no longer catastrophic. You learn that you can recover, that stability is possible, that life is not constantly on the edge of collapse. This builds confidence, real confidence, not loud or showy, quiet, grounded, steady. And that steadiness affects everything: how you communicate, how you handle conflict, how you pursue goals, how you trust yourself. Eventually, you look back at your old self and feel compassion, not judgment. You remember the worry,
the uncertainty, the sleepless nights, and you realize how far you've come. This is where the final emotional hook begins to form, because at some point you realize that the money itself was never the real prize. The real prize was becoming someone who could create stability, someone who could adapt, someone who could grow. And that is something no market crash, no job loss, no external force can take away. Skills stay, mindset stays, self-belief stays. This is why everything changes after this milestone, because you discover your own capability. Now, imagine how many people are still on the earlier part of the path, feeling stuck, feeling behind, feeling like change is impossible. If you've crossed this threshold, your story is proof that transformation is real. If you haven't yet, your story is still unfolding, and that's okay. No two journeys look the same. No timeline is universal. Progress is personal, but the shift is waiting, quietly, patiently, for anyone who keeps moving forward. So whether you're at the start, in the middle, or reflecting from further down the road, remember this: money is not just currency, it's feedback. It reflects choices, habits, and beliefs. Change those, and the results follow. Everything changes after $10,000, not because it makes you rich, but because it makes you realize you are capable of building more than you once thought possible. And that realization, that is priceless. If this story resonated with you, take a moment to like this video so more people can find it. Subscribe to the channel if you want more thoughtful explorations of mindset, growth, and personal transformation, and share your own experiences or reflections in the comments. I'd love to hear where you are in your journey. Until next time, keep moving forward. Your next chapter is still being written.